Thank you everybody for joining. A couple people are still rolling in, I see that, but that's fine. We're gonna get started. It's 12 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for being here today. My name is Katie Rowe Mitchell, and we are here for the third of 4 online yoga classes this month, the month of April, and we're focusing this month on the topic of posture. So the theme for the month is posture perfection. And our first class, we looked at specifically seated posture, so how you sit, how you hold yourself when you're sitting, and we kind of talked about some different sections of the spine and how to bring a little bit more awareness to the spine through our desk and chair yoga practices. And then the second week, last week, you did a moving meditation with Nicole. It was a very slow, mindful movement intended to reinforce some of the information that you guys learned during the first week about how the spine moves, how the spine feels, and how you can continue to incorporate these principles into your daily life. So today, the theme is stand tall. So we're going to talk about the way that we hold ourselves when we're standing, even when we're walking. We'll talk about that a little bit because we're standing very, very often all the time, you know, waiting in line like at the grocery store or at the bus, or really simple things like washing the dishes, brushing your teeth. And some of you guys also, a lot of you have standing desks. So that's an important piece of making sure that you stand well at work if you use a standing desk. So for today's desk and chair yoga practice, you need a chair and a desk. The desk is really going to be used more for balance. So if you're in sort of a multi-purpose room, or if you're away from your desk, so you're not at a conference room, you'll be able to use the back of the chair for the majority of the things that we do. And I'll show you how to modify that. All right. So today's class is going to be about 20 minutes long. We're going to focus on those standing postures, and we're going to also talk about the curves of the spine for a little bit of review from what we did the first week as well. So I'm going to go on over to my desk and to my chair. Feel free to type in questions throughout the class, and after class, I'll take a look at those comments as they come in, and we'll make sure to answer your questions. All right? Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to start in a seated position and come a little bit away from the back of your chair, so about like this, just so that you've got enough space behind you. Place your feet flat on the floor. Let me scooch back a little bit so you guys can see me. Place your feet flat on the floor and bring your hands to your lap. Take your gaze forward and just close your eyes for a few breaths. Okay, and let go of any tension in your face and your eyes, in the belly. Let the shoulders rest down away from the ears. Relax the mouth and the jaw and find your breath here. So it's always good to just take a moment and really bring your attention inward. You've carved out this time to be here, so do your best to be really present with the practice. Just take a moment and notice how the body is feeling. Notice if you're feeling any tension or tightness in the shoulders and the low back. It's quite common. And also, just take a moment and notice the current state of your mind. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just a good idea to really check in before we start the yoga practice so that we can move from a place of really supporting what it is that you need right now. Okay, from here, let's open up the eyes, keep the gaze really soft, and we'll start with our happy spine sequence just to get things moving. Let's take a big breath in, interlace the fingers, press the heels of the hands high, and let's take it from side to side. And this is lateral flexion and extension. Just gently moving the whole rib cage and the head from side to side. Try to link the breath to the movement. So inhale as you come up, and exhale as you go over. Right, take your time and feel things out. And we'll all pause in the middle and bring those hands right behind the head for seated cow-cat. All right, with your next inhalation, lean back and look up. Lift your chin a lot. So get a nice stretch through the front of the throat, shoulders, the chest. And as you exhale, round your spine, drop the chin, and bring the elbows towards the knees. And again, inhale, lift up, look up, lean back, and exhale to round. Okay. Do 2 or 3 more like this at your own pace. Remember, we're trying to get some movement through the entire spine, from the base of the spine, the tailbone, all the way up to the crown of the head. There isn't an inherent position of the spine that's particularly bad. What's not ideal, though, is if we get locked or kind of stuck in position. So just notice how the spine is moving today. Last one. And we'll pause here in the center, stretch those arms straight up in space, big breath in. Let's do a really gentle twist. Lots of different ways to twist. We'll twist to the left first. Bring your hand to the opposite knee and your other hand to the top of the chair. Okay, now close your eyes and take a few deep breaths here. And each time you inhale, feel the crown of the head lift up. And each time you exhale, tone your belly, draw the navel to the spine, and twist through the shoulders. You can kind of use your hands to help you get a little deeper into that twist. Okay, now we'll do a little experiment. Stay right where you are. Use your belly muscles, use your back muscles. Try to maintain this position, but lift your hands up away from the chair and the knee. A little bit more strength-based twist here. All right, inhale, come on straight up, reach the arms up, lift up, and then we'll go the other way. Twist to the right, hands to the knee, other hand to the back of the chair or the arm of the chair. Close your eyes, take a few deep, full breaths. Feel the rib cage expand, feel the belly and the back expand on the inhalation. On the exhalation, get really strong. So push your feet down into the floor, engage the abdominal muscles, and then we'll do that same little experiment here. So open up your eyes, keep the position, use your belly and your back muscles, but try kind of hovering the hands over the back of the chair and the knee. So it's easier said than done. All right, inhale, unwind that twist, reach up, take a big breath in, and exhale, release. Excellent. Okay, we're going to revisit the seated pelvic tilt because we're going to use that action a lot in our standing postures today. So just a little review, feet flat on the floor, come all the way to the edge of your chair this time and bring the fingertips right to the pelvis. So you kind of feel the pelvic bones here underneath the fingertips. It's really simple. Keep the chest lifted, keep the head neutral, and kind of scoop your tailbone under. Right, now we'll do the opposite. Tip your pelvis forward. This is called an anterior tilt. Now tuck your tailbone. This is called a posterior tilt. So keep doing this. Do this a few more times. Most of us are kind of locked with the tailbone tucked in this posterior tilt. So it's a really good idea. I do this every day. Every day I'm seated either at my desk or even just kind of like before I sit down to eat dinner, I'll just do this a few times, kind of unlock the pelvis and the hips. So remember this feeling because we're going to revisit this in some of our standing postures. So find a nice neutral pelvis, not tipped back, not too far tipped forward, nice and neutral, and engage the abdominal muscles. Okay, let's just take a couple of moments here so that you can really feel what it's like to have a neutral pelvis, strong belly, feet pushing down into the floor. Good. Now with all of this staying the same, reach the arms forward and stand up. Good. Okay. So we'll move into our standing series now. I'm going to scooch my chair in. You can scooch your chair out of the way. You can use the desk for balance, or you can use the back of the chair like I'm going to show you here. I'm going to face you so that you can see me and I'll mirror you, but you can still keep facing your desk. All right. So Tadasana, mountain pose, really important posture in the yoga practice. Feet are right underneath the hips, the toes point forward. I'm going to turn to my side so that you can see me here. So my ankles, my hips, my shoulders, and my ears. It's like that song, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Similar, but we're wanting to stack up all of these main joints. So oftentimes what we see with our standing posture is that we start to do this or something like this. Another thing that we start to see is kind of this slouching and the head comes forward. And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes people will kind of lean forward and stick their butt out a little bit, and then their chest gets lifted and their chin gets lifted. So it can be a little bit different for everybody. So I'd like you to find a nice strong mountain pose, and you can actually look at your ankles and your hips and then see where your shoulders are, and then sense your ears in space, and do your best just to stand really tall, and let's spiral the palms open to face forward and breathe. Now close your eyes here and visualize your spine inside of you. We reviewed this 2 weeks ago. The low back, the lumbar spine, we've got the middle back, the thoracic spine, and then we've got the neck, the cervical spine. So these curves of the spine work together to maintain a nice upright posture with ease. So just take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Sense your body in mountain pose. Very simple, but very important, very, very profound when we start to practice this more regularly. All right, now open up your eyes and we'll start to do what's called a standing march. So this is a balancing pose. We did this seated 2 weeks ago. We're gonna do it standing today. I'm gonna turn to my side so that you can see me. I'm gonna start with the hands on the hips and bring the feet together. From here, start with an inhalation, nice, strong, tall spine. And as you exhale, draw that left knee up. Good. So we're balancing on the right foot. This can be kind of tricky depending on what shoes you're wearing, but just stay with it. It's good for your ankles. So some things to watch, try not to let the hips shift forward or the head shift back. Okay, also try not to overly round the spine or tuck the tailbone. We're maintaining that nice aligned mountain pose through the standing leg while engaging the hip flexors in the left leg. If you're feeling good with the balance, maybe reach your arms straight up in space. Stretch. Stay tall. One more breath. And then release. Okay, let's do the same thing on the second side. So you're gonna lift up that right leg. Right? So I'm not scooping under, I'm not leaning forward. Imagine like you're doing mountain pose across the whole left side of the body in the standing leg, hands to hips, strong belly. And you're bringing the knee up as high as you can without overly tucking the pelvis under you. So you should be feeling the belly muscles and those hip flexors working. If you feel a little wobbly in that standing ankle, that's not necessarily bad. We're just kind of building some strength in there. And you can always hold on to the chair or the table for support. One more breath here. If you're feeling good with your balance, let's take the arms up and stretch up and get as long as you can for the spine. For 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then release. Good. So you probably felt that through the front of the hips, through the belly. So we'll open up the front of the hips now. So a lot of times, if we get overly kind of tucked under and we get locked into this slouching standing posture, it can be helpful to stretch the front of the hip flexors. So we'll do warrior 1. So I've got my chair scooted in. You can use the back of the chair. You can also have the hands on the desk. All right, start about 2 inches away from your desk or so, and we'll step the right foot back first. And my right foot is pivoted a little bit. So to my left knee. From here, square the chest and the hips off to face the chair and straighten your back leg, really strong. Now we're going to revisit that pelvic tilt here. So sometimes in this pose, we see people kind of tipping their whole body forward. I want you to try to move the tailbone down. So keep that tailbone nice and heavy and you'll get a deeper stretch to the front of the hip. Keep this going. Take a big breath in. You can keep the hands on the chair or maybe try reaching your arms up. Breathe. Okay, now we'll do a little bonus here for the upper back. So lower the arms down, just to combat that slouching position as well. Interlace your hands behind the back. This is a little tricky for the balance, so roll those shoulders back and down. Try to lift your arms up as high as you can. Keep the tailbone heavy. Keep the ears in line with the shoulders. Keep your breath going. Engage your abdominal muscles on the exhalation and get a little taller through the crown of the head on the inhalation. For your last breath, try looking up. Okay, release and step forward. Same thing on the second side. Step your left foot back, nice long stance. Pivot that back foot out a little bit, about 45 degrees. Bend into your front knee and we're squaring the chest off to face the table or the back of the chair. Notice what's going on with your pelvis. Okay, are you leaning forward a lot? Try to keep that tailbone nice and heavy so we keep the low back really spacious. Okay, we're also not dumping into the lower back like this. tailbone heavy, nice long neutral spine. Okay, option one is to stay here. You should be feeling a stretch in the front of the left hip. Okay, option two, take the arms up and lift. Each inhale, get a little bit taller and longer through the spine. Each exhale, engage the abdominal muscles, push down through your feet, and hug the muscles into the bones. Okay, let's do that shoulder stretch, so arms swing back. Try putting your non-dominant thumb on top. Roll the shoulders back. We're squeezing the shoulder blades together. Okay, try not to let the head jut forward. Keep the ears over the shoulders. Think about that mountain pose. Keep the tail heavy. Start to lift your arms up as high as you can. You're getting a big stretch through the chest and strengthening the upper back. For the last breath, try lifting the chin. A nice extension through the cervical spine. One more breath. Okay, and then look forward and release and step forward. Good. Okay, so from here, we just opened up the front of the hips. We got some nice engagement in the belly and some nice engagement through the upper back, all really important for our healthy standing posture. Another thing that can start to happen is if we get locked in this kind of tucked position, our hamstrings can get kind of shortened. Same thing that happens when we sit. So let's practice death dog. That's going to lengthen out the back of the hamstrings, and it will also give us a nice stretch through the shoulders. So you can place your hands right on the back of the chair or on the table. Either is absolutely fine. And you're going to step back a little bit. Okay. So from here, bend your knees slightly. Look down at your feet. You want your feet pointing forward. Feet are hips distance apart. From here, the most common thing that we see in death dog is that the tailbone tucks under. So remember that pelvic tilt we did in the beginning of class. We don't want to scoop the tailbone under. We don't want to overly let it fly up either. We want to have a nice neutral spine. Most of us will need to think about lifting the tailbone up just a little bit in order to untuck that pelvis. From here, keep the knees soft and lower the chest down. Okay, so if you take a look up at the screen, I'm not rounding my spine. My spine doesn't look like a banana. It looks like a nice, flat, neutral, straight line. So keep stretching your arms really strong and straight. Let the chest sink a little closer towards the floor. You can start to relax the head. All right, and then maybe start to straighten the legs a little bit, but not at the expense of letting your pelvis tuck. So keep the tailbone slightly lifted, not scooped under. Do one more deep, full breath here. And then look forward. Good. Okay. From here, we're going to step the right foot forward and come into triangle pose. We haven't done this one yet. The back foot dials out a little bit. Both of my legs are straight, but the stance is wide. I'm going to open up the pelvis to the left. So from here, bring your forearm either onto the back of the chair, or you can bring it onto the table. That's fine too, hand to the hip. Roll that top left shoulder back and down. So we get really long through the spine. So now the challenge is not to collapse in the shoulders and not to collapse in the hip. So we want to stay really strong and lifted through the pelvis and really strong and lifted through the shoulders. Option one is to stay here. You can also take that hand and slide it a little bit further onto the desk and maybe reach your opposite arm straight up and look up. Extend through the crown of the head on the inhale. Exhale, engage your belly, push down through the feet. One more deep, full breath. Good. All right, inhale, bring it up. Let's step forward and switch sides. So I'll show you the back. Step that right foot back, plant the foot onto the floor. Straighten both of your legs. Try not to dump into the hip. We want to keep really strong legs. Left hand goes to the table or to the chair. Right hand to the hip and open up that chest. Okay, stay really strong. Don't collapse in the shoulder. Push the forearm down into the chair. Engage the belly. Maybe take that arm up and look up. And go a little bit deeper by sliding the hand a little bit further onto the desk. Keep the legs strong. Keep the spine long. Look up. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Keep the neck free and long. Do one more breath here in desk triangle. Good. All right, lower that arm and step forward. Good. All right, step back away from the desk. We'll just do one more very brief pose here. Let's try bringing the feet all the way together, just a little bit of space between the heels for chair pose. I'll turn to the side so that you can see me. Engage your legs, send the hips back as if you're sitting back into an imaginary chair, and bring the arms straight up. We're going to do an arm variation today. Interlace the hands behind the head and press the head back. This pose helps with posture because it strengthens the legs, but it also strengthens all of the muscles along the spine. Okay, so look up, squeeze the legs together. It's a nice position for the legs after that triangle pose where the legs were apart. Nice counter position. Keep the belly strong, look up, take one more deep, full breath. Feel the whole spine lengthen and the muscles along the spine engage. All right, and then exhale, release. Let's come back into mountain pose. Toes point forward, feet are underneath the hips, engage the legs. Open up the palms and close your eyes. And sense your body in space. Okay, remember the ankles, the hips, the shoulders, and the ears. Keep the face relaxed, and let's just do 3 deep, full, mindful breaths here. Each time you inhale, sense the spine lengthening up towards the ceiling. And each time you exhale, feel your feet on the floor and feel a nice, gentle engagement of the abdomen, strong core. All right, and open up your eyes. Good. All right, that concludes our practice for our stand tall desk and chair yoga for healthy standing posture. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box and I'll respond. Let me know your favorite pose. I would love to hear that. And for those of you who are on today, we always send through a recording of all of these videos so that you can watch the live recordings on demand. We send those videos through the day after, so you'll be receiving that in your email tomorrow. If you haven't received it or you're having problems receiving that link and you want it, please reach out to us. You can email us through our website at unfoldyogawellness.com, and we will make sure that you receive it. All right, the other thing is that you're going to be doing another meditation with Nicole with some visualizations about the spine next week. So we hope to see you for that. And we're going to be sending out some more information about our May Unfold digital curriculum in a couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for that.